That's definitely crazy. So let's talk about this whole phase because I've heard this all over the internet. I've heard it on YouTube and these women talking about, every woman has to have a whole phase.
Every woman has to have a whole
What what
face.
what what
Who's
kind
saying
of
this?
trauma? You haven't seen this on YouTube?
I
You know what I'm
mean,
saying?
like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out who's saying this.
You talk about in specific?
Like, what's their age? What's their racial makeup? What's
I
like
don't.
what are their what's their celebrity status?
They're
What's
not. They're not. I. They're not encouraging them to be married. Especially at early ages.
are they
It's like
married? Uh,
what it's like. Get your career straight. Get your career straight. Get all your. You know what I mean. Get your money straight. Get your finances straight. And while you're doing that, have some fun.
you
Have
know
some fun.
why?
You know what I mean? And because don't you're already handling your business with all your money
That's
matters.
that's poor information. I'm gonna tell you where I think some of it is coming from. It's coming from poor relationships and women being in relationships. I'm just with men who are not emotionally connected to them, and although they are in relationships with them, they are running the yard. They are running. They're playing the field. And it comes from a lot, and I don't want to blame it all on men, but I do realize from working with women and men that lots of times uh the more the elder women who are giving this advice are really coming from a place of hurt because they're like, look, don't waste your life, don't
Right.
waste your time doing what I did.
Right.
And so again, this is the hurt trying to lead the next generation. This is
Right.
the unresolved trauma. This is unresolved trauma. So again, this is poor guidance, but I understand it.
Semi say the men are having whole phases most of our lives. Don't
I,
hate when the women.
I think we should not. I think regardless, we shouldn't
Yeah,
normalize it either way.
because see, we did talk about
Hmm.
we started off talking about the men
Hmm.
and how we didn't agree with theirs. You know what I mean? So we wasn't in here. We wasn't high fiving. We wasn't high fiving on the men doing it. And and,
So,
and 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 mostly I would say, even my son, people that's coming up now, I would
mhm.
definitely encourage and what I mean, not encourage them to go out and hoe around and whole phase and all that kind of stuff because it's again we talked about that. It's dangerous. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous emotionally, spiritually,
Mhm.
financially, in every way. And building up our community is dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to do to develop that sexual appetite that you just can't control. And see, because that's what happens after a while. When you get out there and you start doing it, you get addicted to it.
The
There's
problem
sex,
with,
there's sex addiction that's out there.
but the other problem with whole phases or education phases, which is more common, which you, when you wait too long to now procreate, even, and now you're 40 and 50, and you're feeling lonely, and you feel like you miss your your time because you don't have children. If you don't have children, or you have children without any baby fathers around, or you have baby fathers in several places, or you might have a good relationship. So it's not healthy for the individuals, nor is it healthy for our next generation, regardless if it's the man or the woman hoeing.
Let me see. Did I put his? Oh, comment on this. The Semi said, okay. Semi, you welcome to come in if you would like, sir. I put
Do
the
do I think that it is normal? Anything? Yeah, I think things can change if our consciousness change and the cultural messages that we put out there. There's people that live today that, and from different cultural backgrounds, that don't adhere to whole phases. Now, those of us who are um, in oppressed conditions that we find and disconnected from our culture, we can normalize anything. But that's the reason to combat these things and really examine these things and to work on intentionally creating culture that is healthy for our next generation.
we just put the link And you know what I mean? So, you know, if anybody wants to join,
sidebar and put the link in there. Oh man.
yeah, you know, that's how I be getting you, Dr.
I,
Assad.
I
You know,
told you I
I say,
told you I'm
man,
not I
man, here's
told
the
you
link, bro.
I told you I'm not falling for your link trick no more.
Here's the link. But even brother Kwame, if you want to come in, you know what I'm saying, if you still,
Mhm.
yeah, and we are, it is recorded, brother Kwame. You can go to Reality Speaks Media, or you could go to TNAT. What is it? Is it TNAT?
Dr. Dennis Assar Winkler.
Yeah. So
That's the
we definitely,
handle.
yeah. So you can definitely do that. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, you know, I wanted to talk about that because it's just such a, you know, and then people say that it's just uneven. You know what I'm saying? Why should, you know, men be able to do this and then women can't, you know? And so what happens, even after maybe a woman may start early, she may start
Mhm.
early and have a relationship, a good relationship that she's been in, and then she'll get to her 30s and then be encouraged, like, girl, go out there and do you. Go out there and have you some fun. Go out there.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, but see, it's stuff is just not that simple, man. It's just not that simple, you know.
Mhm.
Like, you know, sometimes when people go out and do them, the first time you may go out and do that, you know, it might be the first time you get pregnant, first time you
Mhm.
get a disease, the first time you get this, you know. I think they had one woman, I think who was that story? And that was a crazy movie, but what was that? Precious?
Yeah.
One of those stories, well, I don't even know if it was that one, but it was one story that a woman got, she got HIV, she got pregnant, HIV, and it was another disease all at the same time.
What's a
And
whole phase though? I mean, I guess if you qualify what a whole phase is, what does that really mean?
it's when you go out and you do pretty much what you want to do, you know, who you want to
Mm.
do, you know, who you want to do and what you want to do,
Mhm.
and enjoy yourself really like sexually.
Yeah, the problem I've never I mean, I've worked with plenty of women who call themselves being in that phase, but I've never seen any of them really feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not, even
Hmm.
when they're convincing themselves that they want to be in that whole phase or quote unquote, afterwards they regret it. Um, it's a part. It is, and it is not. It doesn't really go with the cultural, um, uh, 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 let's say, moral tale that we live under, because women start counting bodies in a very negative way.
Right.
Whereas the moral tale for men or boys, or I mean, males or what have you,
Yeah.
um, the moral tale tells us that the more bodies you get, the greater you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think things are genetic when it's really the stories and the mythologies that have been told to us that men are to go and sell their royal oats, whereas women are supposed to be nice and virgins for the rest of their lives and um, only having sex in missionary style and all these type of Eurocentric moral tales that just aren't healthy.
He said, so we say the men count women's bodies in a negative way. You okay, so I think he's saying
Yeah, I think both do. I think men count it negatively how many people you had before me, and also women at some point they start thinking like, "Dang, I had sex with man, I don't want to have another partner," and so they then say I'm gonna be abstinent. They go through these cycles inside of their minds. You know what? I can't. It doesn't even go with my religion. Like a lot of our sisters are even Christian or what have you, and they feel like that having sex out of wedlock is just it doesn't work. So the craziness is a lot of these sisters are Christian who will say these things about going to have a what is it called a hoe off or something like that, and
yeah,
they will be self-proclaimed Christians and never speak about the conflict that goes on inside of their minds or women's minds when they believe that they're supposed to be married before having sex and they should not be having sex out of wedlock. I am not saying that is my belief, but what I
right,
am saying that many people who come to me, this is the conflict that they're having.
right, right. I think in many of these phases too, whether you talking about the whole phase for men or women, we talked about diseases and all that kind of stuff. You ain't talk about the dangers of people that actually get killed because they actually cheating around with somebody's husband or somebody's wife, or you know what I mean. And then oftentimes this leads to people getting shot and killed or beat, or it's a lot of stress.
What's
These
that?
these
Oh,
these
Jabari, you got all the worst tales. I'm
no, 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 no.
I'm,
Let's be. I mean,
geez, I'm trying. You're like you want to get HIV on the first time. You're gonna get you know people getting beat up and
No, 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 no. I mean,
jeez.
I know of people, you know what I mean, from my school, you know what I mean, from Patterson, you know what I mean, who in different places who actually